state. And the very first thing he did was to set up a radio station, Radio Osun. But then they had this installation. Me, a non-Osun person, I was surprised to be invited to that inaugural thing. And I remember whispering to my next door neighbor on that table that indeed Ekiti and Osun states have a great deal in common. Believe it or not, nature has dictated that. That's why that factor for which your state is known, Osun, Osogbo, River Osun, is a magnetizing, bridge building natural entity. River Osun starts from Ekiti State in a place called Igede, Ekiti. And it is called Elemiligede. It flows through Osun State all the way to the Lekki Peninsula there. But you ask yourself, why is it that we, the Ekiti people who give birth to that river, and where you can say that Osun River is a native of Ekiti, why is it that it is the Osun section of it that has had global recognition? But rather than worry about that, what's important is for both Osun and Ekiti state indigents to realize that something has brought us together and it's going to last for quite a while. Therefore, I was not surprised when the ODA was trying to gather strength that this same Segun Aina, the current president, had a series of discussions with me. But before then, I had a series of other discussions with the late Obaola Sowore. And it just appears to me that it's a natural given that there must be some kind of relationship, build bridging between Ekiti and Osun State. And I'll say to you confidently that that kind of relationship will be fostered on one hand by Igbimoru Ekiti and the other hand by ODA to the progress of both states. It is not easy, but let me just hint you, as I did hint Dr. Aina on very many occasions, that our organizations need to double up without being frustrated, because this kind of job is sometimes frustrating. Sometimes the government suspects you that you're trying to do something to make them shake. That's the mentality of the times. We must not give up. And it is in this joint effort that we will realize that when one is feeling negative, the other will bring some positivity into the progress being made. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we believe that an organization like yours, from our experience in discussions, would need to further potentiate the organization in 3 areas. 1 is membership, 2 is robust funding, and 3 is relevant programs and projects. If you get the membership right, and I think you are doing so now, you will be surprised how the funds would come from the influence of the various individuals that make up the group. And then with funds, the projects would come. Especially Osun State is a gifted state, even though we take ourselves for granted in Osun State. Whatever the area of human development, the Osun man can beat his chest and be proud. Traditionally, the most respected Yoruba traditional ruler is from Osun State. Politically, as we talk now, the highest ranking politicians in this nation are either directly or indirectly from Osun State. Now, what I have just said, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what I have just said is straightforward, but it depends on how you individually then interpret it. I'm saying some of the gifts that Osun State have that will make it for the ODA to make progress. If you think, for example, of the professions, some of the leading professionals in the whole of Nigeria are from Osun State. Some of the wealthiest Nigerians are from Osun State, directly and indirectly. A few people sit in Lagos and say that they are very successful. If you tap them a little bit, you will find that the Osun in them is what is driving them. Because as between Ekiti and Osun states, throughout the whole of Nigeria, that's where you still have the residual virtues of honesty, integrity, discipline, and dependability. We have that in common. But we do then have a challenge. And that's that both Ekiti and Osun states are undermarketed. People tend to take Osun and Ekiti states for granted in the arrangement of things. Therefore, both states must so be guided by ODA and Igbimo Ekiti to make sure that we do develop leaders, which is why I'm quite happy you're bringing young people, develop leaders who would also be at the commanding heights, economically and otherwise. Because that's the only way we can be at the table. Because if you are not on the table, you'll be on the menu. And very many times, these two states have been on the menu. It's about time we had a turnaround. ODA can do it. And I assure you that Igbimo Ekiti is already doing something like that. I believe also that if we do that in our togetherness, we can surprise not only the rest of Yoruba land, but Nigeria. Nigeria is in need of states that are well run based on these qualities that we have, so that our leaders can become truthful, always saying the truth. They can be fair to all concerned. They can build goodwill and better friendships, and they will make sure that whatever they're doing is benefiting to all concerned. Finally, I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, that what you're doing today is one of the little steps you can take to promote the revelation of what's going on in your state. Since 1942, they have been officially mining gold in your state, Osun State. What has been the benefit of the individual Osun State person? Who is going to draw an attention to it? It's the ODA. Our discussions continue, Dr. Shina. I think you have been a good leader. If you can prosecute this element well, then the revelation of the state becomes obvious, and with revelation comes elevation and celebration. May Osun State be elevated and celebrated. I believe, too, that this is only the beginning of many things. I'm quite happy that we now have somebody from somewhere who has promised to be a member, who has agreed to be a member. I also thank you that one of the young members is my own son-in-law, Mr. Akin Oguranti, of Executive Director of Zenith Bank. I can tell you, too, that when I got married, it was an Osun State person who was my best man. And when he got married, I was his best man. So I do have connectivities with Osun State, and I won't regret it. That's why I say the IUE and ODA are intertwined. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds, but everybody knows who holds tomorrow. And my prayer for your organization is that that person who holds tomorrow will continue to so favor you that when we then talk of ODA in the near and distant future, We all here will be very proud of what we have. It will be well with each and every one of you. Greetings from the Ugbimo. Thank you very much.
ọmọ àríwá òbí fi ṣàlejò.
Yes, I want to extend an apology on behalf of my governor, His Excellency Dr. Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke, who is unavoidably absent today. Apparently, I got an invitation already from Dr. Aino, who invited me on my own to come here. But last night I got a call from my governor that I should please represent him here because he actually meant to be here and he was had to do some other things in Osun State, but I'm tendering an apology on his behalf. What I could not do for you here is to dance on his behalf, but I would, but I'll surely deliver his message to you. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this address of the governor, so it is my honor and privilege to address this distinguished gathering of top leaders of professionals from Osun State, the state of the living spring. I cherish this opportunity to speak to accomplished indigenous people of my state who are contributing in no small measure to local, state, and national development. I have commendable records of your association and activities, your passion and individual growth, and your many additions to state developmental efforts are noteworthy. I say congratulations to all of you. In this era of economic turbulence and uncertainty, no governmental organizations are taking center stage to fill increasing gaps in national and global development. In the northern part of the world, such groups play prominent roles in several sectors. They deliver a lot of programs and projects in several societal sectors and strengthen orderly growth and development in society. In the southern part of the world, such groups are also popping up with model and agenda that are complementing efforts of the state to address the complex developmental challenges facing our societies. As most developing nations are in the southern world, the problem of poverty, infrastructural deficit, and imbalances in the sector expand the